we got this tweet. It's going viral. It's a clip from the DNC of Tim Walz pulling on his son's arm. And a lot of people are suggesting it shows that he's an abusive parent. But others suggest he's just trying to pull his son away from a teleprompter from bumping into it. Here's the clip. You can see right there he yanks him. That's it. And it rewinds. I don't know who made this, but everyone's sharing it. He pulls him pretty hard, and then you look at his face, and a lot of people have said he's got a grimace on his face. He looks frustrated. He's pulling his son. His son's got a mental, that face he makes. His son's got a learning disability of some sort. And so this is following on this story where Gus Walz cried when his dad said that he loved him, and we'll play the clip for you. Okay, so they're just doing stupid music. Is that it?
I thought this was a sweet moment, honestly.
Yeah, I when I saw this clip going around, you have Gus Walz crying when his dad calls him out and says, "I love you." And so I talked about it on my morning show, and I said it's actually one of the most heartwarming things. You know, this kid sees his dad's up on stage, and he says, "This is my son, I love him," and he's crying. My only thing was I started laughing like your dad's lying about everything up there,
right.
Lying about IVF and all this stuff, trying to make people think that his family got IVF when they did not,
right.
Because it's political. And so, but I'm not going to rag on the kid for this.
That's not
However, in this debate, when people show Tim Walz yanking his son and having that look on his face that some have suggested is a look of frustration, others have said he's just pulling him away from the teleprompter. I don't buy that. He's not going to trip into the teleprompter. He's walking right past it. The pull of his arm doesn't do anything to pull him away from the teleprompter.
He might be 8 feet away from that thing, too.
Well, no,
they're walking through it.
She walks in front of it. But either way, look at the direction Gus is walking.
He's ducking under it, maybe, right there. He pulls him hard,
he doesn't need to be pulled. So regardless of what you think, the narrative is now, the argument, the debate is this. The reason why Gus Walz started crying when his dad said he loved him is because they believe, people are arguing, this is a sign of abuse. A kid who grew up with a learning disability from parents who are frustrated having to deal with him. I got to imagine, or I said I could imagine, because I'm not trying to take sides on this debate, but you got a kid with a learning disability and the parents are like, stop, it's like this, stop doing this, stop, why won't you listen, why can't you learn? And so people are suggesting the reason he cried. Now, let me say this first. There were several conservatives who mocked Gus for crying this way. A little over the top there, son, a little weird. Some people are like, why is he crying so heavily? And then other people pointed out, when you see this clip, maybe it's because his dad never said he loved him. And here he is at this political rally saying, that's my son and I love him. And the kid, it's the first time he's heard that from his dad. Or he rarely hears it from his dad. And his dad's kind of mean to him. And so he takes it. He stands up and he claps and cries.
I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the guy, and I'm talking about Tim Walz, who puts on these over-the-top smiles, is actually a jerk behind the scenes. I wouldn't be surprised to find that out. I can't make any claims, and I won't.
I can understand this argument. Because when I saw him crying and clapping and saying that's my dad, I laughed and I'm like, all right, but I'm not going to get mad at a kid for cheering for his dad. That being said, wouldn't we assume 99% of people would stand up and wave when his dad was like, that's my son, I love him? They go, yes, thank you.
I would have cried too.
If your dad cheered for you from the...
That's like a very touching moment, I feel like. And I want to know, how severe is his learning disability? Isn't he like nonverbal? Like, isn't it?
He has a nonverbal learning disability, which impacts his ability to learn and communicate. But it doesn't, like, he can talk. It's not like he's.
Okay.
From what I read about it, and obviously, like, they haven't given us a very specific diagnosis other than like very intense ADHD and a nonverbal learning disability.
I mean, if I was 17 and my dad was, giving his acceptance speech to be the vice president of the United States, and he talked very glowingly about how much he loved his family and me, I would probably react. I wouldn't react like that.
I wouldn't ugly cry. But
I wouldn't have ugly cried. But there's no doubt I would tear.
Nice masculine tear down the cheek.
It's just me. I wouldn't. I'd stand up and I'd smile and I'd wave and I'd be like, thanks, Dad.
You're built different.
Maybe.
Yeah, you are.
From Chicago.
But you were there longer than me.
Sure.
I'm from SoCal. I'm
not
fragile.
I'm not suggesting that nobody would have an emotional reaction. The argument other people are making, and maybe it's just a kid who loves his dad. I don't know. I thought it was actually heartwarming to see this kid clap for his dad. He's proud of his dad. His dad's saying he loves him.
Well, especially if he has special needs, it makes sense that he would
and if
kind
he's
of
like
have
overstimulated,
over-the-top
right?
reaction. Sure.
That poll doesn't even seem that aggressive for people to be coming up with these like massive conspiracies about what's happening. Like, to me, that just looks like, come on, hurry up. Like, we have limited time. They're going to go to commercial. That's what it's giving to me.
Yeah.
But also, I really don't want to talk about what politicians are doing or like their relationship with their kids unless we're talking about Ashley Biden's diary because we still don't have the clarity on that we deserve.
And she introduced Biden on the first day. They had
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, before, so in 2020, they just brought out every single granddaughter they could. No grandsons, just granddaughters. And this time they're bringing out Ashley because they can't bring out Hunter, right? I mean, I really wonder what would have happened if, Beau Biden hadn't gotten his, terminal cancer diagnosis. I think they wouldn't lean so heavily on these ne'er-do-well children.
And what's with Ashley Biden's accent? Did you guys catch that?
I didn't see it.
She had a weird accent.
Did she?
Yes. Did you guys watch?
I gotta watch a clip right now.
You didn't watch it?
I didn't
I
even
did.
know she was there.
Yeah, she has.
She introed Biden.
Wow.
And he was like, "That's my daughter."
I know
think
it
we
is.
all thought about the daughter.
Let's see if I can find a video. I don't know if no, they're all interviews. Let's see. Yeah, she had like a weird accent, and I tweeted. I was like, "This is weird. Why is she talking like that?"
I'll say that my initial.
So I think this might be it.
That's it.
The Violence Against Women Act.
I don't hear an accent there, do you?
You gotta.
A little bit more.
Dad was always there doing everything he could to be a true partner to her. Dad, you always tell us, but we don't tell you enough, that you are the love of our lives and the life of our love. I thought that I would be a mess, but he was the one crying, and I was the one who had to comfort him.
You don't hear it?
I hear it. It sounds like English is her second language.
It sounds. So to me, it sounds like English is her second language, but she learned English when she was 11 or 12.
Maybe she's doing that
Really? I don't
stilted
hear anything
speech
that
talk
intense.
where she's reading
She sounds like a
off
little
of the
slurry to me,
teleprompter.
but that's it.
She sounds a little like XY chromosome.
It
like
sounds
a little
like-
bassy.
She's got like an Eastern European like pull, slightly.
Yeah.
In the way that she talks, there's a weird kind of thing there.
You're more of a you have a more finely tuned ear for these things. To me, it sounded like kind of the American aristocracy or aristocrats. Like they have a little bit more of a bougie tone to them. So that's all I caught.
Isn't it called like a transatlantic?
Yeah.
Accent.
Like the JFKs, they were famous for
And
that.
there are coastal cities on the East Coast that actually do have very unique accents, especially because
Yeah.
they've done a lot of mobility. And
He's what, Delaware?
he's Delaware.
Yeah. So maybe they have a little accent. I don't know.
Dad knows that family is everything.
Knows. Dad
He taught me
knows.
about it
And I
in the
lost
shower.
Our brother Beau to cancer in 2015.
Like
She's reading,
to me.
too, I think.
It sounds like someone who learned English as a young child. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people who English is their second language, and they have some kind of sometimes will make weird inflections. It sounds like she's trying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she just had a speech impediment that she overcame, so it lingers.
He inherited the Biden family stutter.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
It's possible.
I mean, there's I got this one friend who is from Poland, and then he learned English, a second language, when he was like a young kid, and so he's constantly making up words.
I bet he sounds like a total idiot.
Yeah.
I bet he's a real scumbag, and every time he guest hosts on this show, he never brings up the fact that he co-hosts it with Clint.
Luke,
Probably a pretty low IQ guy.
scumbag, you.
Probably just pimps himself out and gives no love
Here's
to
the
his
thing, though.
co-host.
He's gonna love that.
This is the point that I'm making. I'm not saying that she's got a thick European accent.
No, I know.
I'm saying that I listened to her speak, and I was like, huh?
My bets are on that she's
That's not
reading
North
off a
American dialect.
teleprompter.
Yeah.
But why is
Well,
she
she definitely
doing
is.
this thing
doesn't wanna
where
make
her talk
the
is like
wrong
this?
word.
It might be
Maybe.
that she's not comfortable. Like Ian's right. If she's reading off a teleprompter and she's not, I mean, she doesn't really give that many public addresses. She might just not be.
I think she
prepared
was
to
just
speak
trying to put
publicly.
the diary rumors to bed. That's my
Did it
guess.
work?
That's my guess.
Instead of the
Probably
shower,
not.
Take it to bed instead of the shower.
To the bed.
I'm sure. Oh God, I can't. I don't even want to make those jokes. It's
let me
really bad. I mean, she's an adult woman now, but like making those jokes about
Well, it's sad. Similarly, the Tim Walz thing, like abuse allegations are serious, right? Like they're not something we should take lightly because so many children suffer at the hands of people who are in charge of their lives, their caregivers. But it is becoming more common to look at these families and be like, there's something weird going on here. And unfortunately, the diary is one of those things that people felt like Biden was a weird guy. And then when you get this diary that she has now confirmed was hers, like it just makes people think like, what are you actually selling to the American public?
I have not read
And
it.
what was Joe doing with that dog in the shower?
There was a dog in there?
When he tripped
When he broke his leg. He said that, what was it, like he was getting out of the shower and the dog did something?
Oh, I forgot about that.
He
Yeah,
reached down and
you're
pulled
right.
its tail or something.
Yeah, he reached out and pulled the dog's tail while he was in the shower and slipped.
Dude, he's a weird
My
dude.
guess is he blamed the dog, but the dude
What?
just slipped. I don't know.
That's what it was. He was in the shower.
Yeah,
or
I think
something,
he
right?
went
Yeah,
to
you're
pull
right.
its tail. As the story is, he pulled the dog's tail. I could be wrong about that.
And he was in the shower and pulled the dog's
Getting
tail.
out, and he pulled the dog's tail, and he slipped.
Why is the dog in the bathroom?
I don't know.
I feel like that's pretty common.
Was it
Yeah, I don't think
Commander?
it's that
It's
weird.
common to put your dog in the bathroom when you're taking a shower.
No, the dogs will enter the bathroom.
Yeah, they want-
like
You leave the
sometimes
door
they'll
open.
the door.
Nervous energy.
So
Or they
Joe's-
sit outside and cry.
What do
Yeah.
they call that? Abandonment issues or whatever. When they think you're gone, they want to like be near you.
Right.
Okay, so the dog comes into Joe. So Joe's taking a shower and it's probably in his
Left the door
master.
cracked open. Yeah.
The dog walks in and then he reaches for the towel. The dog turns around and he grabs its tail.
I thought he grabbed it on purpose just to play with the dog. And it
I have
slipped
no
and
idea,
fell.
man. Look,
My question: do you think that Tim Walz was that a sign of abuse? Did you get that vibe?
It's so hard to tell off of that. And again, like I just think making abuse allegations is so serious that you have to be really
Yeah.
careful about it. It's obviously it doesn't seem like he trusts his son to navigate the stage, and
But there may be reason.
maybe
for
there's
that.
a reason for that. We don't know.
Look, also, let me just say real quick. I first saw this and I immediately quote tweeted it and I was like, I just obliterated the dude. And then someone in my replies goes, well, look at where the teleprompter is. And I hadn't even seen the teleprompter before. So then I went back and I watched it very closely, like Zapruder film. I was like rewinding it back and forth to try and figure out what I had actually witnessed. And I concluded that I'm not sure, but I'm going to try and give the benefit of the doubt because I feel like the Democrats would, paint Trump as the worst things imaginable if something like that were to happen. And well, I think that his policies are atrocious and that we ought to be condemning him for that. Unless we actually have definitive evidence that he's abusing his kid, let's not go there.
Well, and I thought Seamus of Freedom Tunes had a really good tweet about this, where he was like, I should pull it up and quote it better. I'm not going to do justice to his.
Just
he's so
abuse
funny.
it. He deserves
But he
it.
said something to the effect of like, "Oh yes, making fun of a vice president's child is a new low for Republicans, but it's an old low for Democrats." And then he had this screenshot of I think a HuffPost article where they point out that when Sarah Palin was nominated to be the VP, there was a Family Guy episode making fun of the fact that she had a kid with Down syndrome. And so it's actually like this moral high ground that someone is pulling out right now. I think, we could all be better to the children of politicians who don't opt to be in the spotlight, right? Minor children politicians. I remember this with Barron, who was 12 at the time. And I remember being in a corporate office that I worked for. And they were like, can we make fun of him? He's like 17, right? And it turned out he's just already at that age. He looked tall for his age.
6'1".
Right. He was already storming over the White House.
thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.